Hi friends, welcome back to my Cozy Crafty Cabin. So it is day 8 of my One Sheet Wonder series, and today we're going to be making over these mini composition books. I got this from Dollar Tree. It's a 3-pack, and this is what we're going to be making today. I'm super excited. You'll get to make 2 covers and have no scraps. So let's get started. As always, I'm going to pull a paper from this summer house paper pad for my collection. Now, I use double-sided paper for this project, but I actually think single-sided paper would be great because you end up not really seeing the other side of the paper with how things end up just being laid out. So if you don't have double-sided paper, no worries. So what you're going to do first, take your 12 by 12 sheet, and with the top on the left, if you have like a directional pattern, you're going to cut down right in the middle at 6 inches. So with the top of your paper on the left side, cut it in half at 6 inches. So these are our bases for the notepad, the composition book covers, and you'll get 2, per 12 by 12 sheet. So let me show you the score lines you're going to make. So we're going to first score along the 12-inch side of the paper, and you're going to make 4 score lines. So the first at 2 5/8 inches, 5 7/8, 6 1/8, and 9 3/8. And this will leave you with, you'll have a 1/4 inch spine for these composition books. So again, that's going to be scoring at 2 5/8, 5 7/8, 6 1/8, and 9 3/8 inches. Now you're going to rotate your paper, and we're going to make 2 score lines on the 6-inch side. And it's going to be at 5/8 inches, so on, the far left edge, and then also on the far right edge. So what I like to do is I score it at 5/8, and then I rotate my paper, 180 degrees, and I score at 5/8 again on the opposite side. So now that we've done all of our score lines, now it's just time to fold our paper on all of those lines we just made. So after you folded your paper, what we're going to do next is we're going to make cuts all along the 12-inch sides. So on both ends, along the 12-inch sides, we're going to cut at an angle where those score lines meet each other at that 5/8 inch long line, if that makes sense. So what I like to do is I just fold my paper in half where those score lines meet, and then I cut out a little triangle. But basically we're just cutting down. Imagine just cutting a straight line down, on the along the 12-inch sides up to that 5/8 inch point, and then but you're going to cut at an angle. So I find it a little bit easier to just fold and cut out these triangles. I hope that makes sense, but hopefully you can kind of tell by the video. So you're going to do this on both sides along the 12-inch side of your paper, and then you're going to be left with like these like itty bitty little triangles where your spine's going to be, and you can just cut those off. You don't need those. So here is our composition book cover coming together, and what we're going to do next is add our adhesive and get this ready to cover our composition books. So whatever adhesive you like to use, whether it be like wet glue or double-sided tape, I just recommend using a really strong adhesive because this is a small piece that we're gluing down, like that 5/8 inch. It's not very wide or tall, you know what I mean. And then this book is gonna get like opened and closed a lot, so just to be on the safe side, I recommend using a really strong adhesive. So I'm gonna be using score tape. Okay, so you see these tabs that we've created along the 12-inch sides of the paper. This is where we're gonna add our adhesive. So on like the most left and most right, or rather the first and last tabs, you're going to add your adhesive to the cover side of the paper, so the side that's not facing you. And then for the two middle tabs, you're going to add adhesive to the inside cover of the paper, so the side that is facing you. I hope that makes sense, but you should be able to see it here while I do it. Okay, here's the kind of tricky part. So once you have, it doesn't matter if it's the front, part or the back part, but once you have one side glued down, one little pocket, right, where you're going to slide in either the front or back of your composition book, I then like to, basically once I have one ready, I slide in my composition book, and then I do the other side with the composition book, already in place. And I do this because with just how long these pockets are, it's a little bit snug and tricky to try to get it in when both flaps are already like glued down in place, if that makes sense. So even though it's a little bit awkward and wonky to try to, glue it down with the composition book already in place, I do find it much easier doing it this way than trying to squeeze in the composition book once I've already glued down both sides. I hope that makes sense. So I show this step again when I make the second one. But here we are. I absolutely love how these turned out. They're so like sleek and just so simple, and really just sturdy. I really like how these turned out. So I hope you enjoyed this idea and this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you guys have been enjoying this series. I've been enjoying it very much, coming up with ideas to, you know, just use up an entire 12 by 12 sheet of paper. Thank you guys so much again, and I'll see you soon for the next one. Bye.